Hey, welcome back. Nearing completion. It's Greg Leach at The Art of Cycling, slash Greg, of course. Although right now we're not exactly doing a lot of cycling painting because the season's over and I'm not a big fan of painting cyclocross. So we just have two areas to finish right now. One is the final lady and the grouping, and I've decided her head was too small. So I'm going to increase her head just a bit. It's like she had this little pinhead stuck on top of a rather skinny, voluptuous body, which kind of seem contradiction in terms, don't they? So I'm just going to work on this a bit, and then there's one other section. The only other part of this painting that needs finishing, see if I can't get to it, is the cocktail napkin under the martini glass. So it's a good feeling to be almost finished. Again, I'm working with the oil sticks made by Shiva, which for the longest time was my exclusive media, and then I sort of branched out to a few other things. Recycling watercolors, stained glass. I have been doing mixed media and using oil stick for a bit. So I'm doing what I call painted sculptures. Some are painted sculptures. But yeah, I like when people, well, so what do you do? What's your media? And it's like, well, that used to be an easy answer. But not so much anymore. And then opening the first Friday of December will be an exhibition I'm in entitled Homage or Homage. And that is two of my other paintings that are one intentional part of this series and the other really the painting that inspired this series of homage paintings, or was the final thing that made me go, wait a minute. I was working on a painting and kind of noticed it reminded me of a particular painting, Andrew Wyeth Christie's World. And so I went ahead and pushed that comparison. And that then said, well, why don't I do that with some other paintings? I've done it unintentionally. Why not do it intentionally? And that's the thing about painting, at least for me, and I think for most artists. The more you paint, the more ideas you get, the more you want to paint, which means the more you paint, which means the more ideas you get, which means the more you want to paint. It's a wonderful loop of creativity. Sorry, I'm looking for my orange. And is that true for y'all? Do you guys find it that way, that the more you work, the more you want to work, and the more ideas you have? And the more you go, I often go, well, screwed up on that one with that idea. So let me try it again with something else, or let's revisit that. That worked or that didn't work. Let's see what I can do to make it better. I'm never particularly interested in repeating myself. You know, slightly living, not that I think it's a possibility, but a little bit in dread that someday I may make the perfect painting, and then what do? I actually don't think that's an achievable reality. He says, struggling with this particular face. That's a better eyeball, isn't it? Wish I could tell you what the piece of music playing was. Listening to performance today on public radio. Feels very waltzy, doesn't it? All right, well, I'm going to switch to time-lapse. So I honestly think part of the reason I do time-lapse is so I don't have to think of things to tell you while I work. Because that gets tough sometimes, as you may notice by the long silences. So, I'm sure I've discussed that I bartend and which allows me to pursue what I want to pursue in the studio. I don't have to worry as much about making sure I make sales and such, so I can make the decisions based on what interests me or intrigues me. And believe me, that often results in more sales, because we are all purchasers want to see the artist's passion, the artist's soul in a work. And if the artist starts making work that he or she thinks will sell, then you lose some of that passion. Or I do anyway. And because realistically, I can only speak for myself, right? So, by taking the marketplace out of the studio, which I highly recommend doing, you're free to be a bit more creative. A little speck there. So it's always the case of paint what you want to paint. And after you have done that, try to figure out how you're going to sell it. And as long as you stay within that, what's the word I want? Structure, I guess, or priority list, you'll do fine, and hopefully you'll find an audience for what interests you. And if you don't, at the very least, you have paintings that you enjoy. Because
Ballet Suite from the Sleeping Beauty. Wake Up. Sleeping Beauty Ballet Suite. Well,
so,
Tchaikovsky's music, the Boston Symphony
yeah,
Orchestra,
turn
led
that
by
off real quick.
Seiji Ozawa. Now, holiday time. This is the Tchaikovsky you might hear. This is Septura.
Oh, okay, well, it's going to go straight to music. But where was I? Oh, yeah, so, paint what you want to paint. It really, that's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, you're doing these for you, and that passion will come across in the work. And that should be what motivates you, and hopefully will continue to motivate you in the studio, is that oh, I just had a great idea. It's literally the way this painting came to me. And that will be enough to sustain you should you never sell a painting. You will be happy in the work that you're creating. Hopefully. And happy is a hard. Like, I'm not really happy the way this is going right now. So happy is a relative term in painting. How about not totally frustrated? There we go. Get that. And here's the point where, see, like, I got, where are you? There you are. See how I got that dark color on the white? So I want to wipe that out so I don't blend too much of it and end up making mud. A little bit of mud's good. A lot of mud is not. I still don't like these two little red spots, so where's my cool one? Arg, I didn't mean to be working on this neck so much. All right, well, I'm going to pause and move the camera so we can get to this last little spot. And then we'll do the two other. Becomes sort of a de rigueur. Somebody used that phrase last night. I was like, ah, you got an art education. So, hang on, hang tight. I'm back in a sec. So now we've just gone down below where we were before. So this martini glass, you can only see the bottom half of it, is just below the previous, or the woman I was just working on.
Maybe if you're the same age as I am, when your kids are younger, they had a TV production. It was a truncated, abbreviated version of Nutcracker.
Let me turn this off like I said I was going to do before.
It was the holidays. I was a little kid. I was sick.
So we're just getting the base, the translucent base of the martini glass. And then you just have to do the, actually there's a little bit here. Better. So it's just laying that in, and then we will, I think, be able to call the piece done. I think. Sorry, I'm looking for another color. Here we go. See, I'm just picking up a little bit of that blue I laid in to do the base of the glass. And this is the thing I'm slightly frustrated with, is that the white is not as opaque as it used to be. So you can see how much of that orange sketch line is showing through. I think some of that can be alleviated by having a little bit of color in there. And some of it I don't care about, because it shows the thought process in the painting. But there, see, I got a little thicker application that I intentionally tried not to drag out. So see how I got that big blurb? And then I'm going very lightly to move it. And by having that much more pigment, it covers it. So that might be the painting. Might. So I'm going to give you a handheld overview. So this is the whole painting, but I want to step in close and let you see just the level of texture and so when I paint a piece, of course, this is where I'm looking, or maybe not quite that close, but and see how I like that little bright green there by her lip? It's just a nice little detail that, to be honest, I don't know where it came from, but it really helps set the piece off. And you can see in this purple and white sections that red couch from before, and that bright white I need to think about because it might need to be just a touch bigger. But you can also see how the strokes of the paint sticks help inform the shape of each person, give you, the swell of the breast or the crook of the arm or the curve of the abdomen. And then the two glasses here, and this is a knowledge-based mistake. So if you'll notice, the top of the martini glass is a much shallower ellipse of a circle in perspective than the base. So it gives it a bit more of a curve. And then back up to this, the wine glass in our central figure. I rather enjoy this hand. And then from the original, from Toulouse's piece, this very prim woman, very covered up. And in the original too, she has a look of disdain, it seems. So I hope you have enjoyed this. I will also give you the signing, the way I sign my work. In just a moment. So I always sign the work on the surface. Well, title it and sign it. And so again, the title of this is Ladies in Waiting. Reminds me, one of my principal collectors owns quite a few pieces. I think we figured out it was like 36 large-scale paintings. No spell check in a pencil, right? So I have paintings where I've spelled things wrong. One that it's called Trotting By, but I spelled it Troting. And oof, it gnawed at him enough that he actually tried to sneak in another T, and his daughter's like, no, you can't do that. That's the way he wrote it. So there are mistakes. Oh, that's nice, 2323. Actually, I think might be the 24th today, but it doesn't matter. And I always date it the day I finish it, and finish is the day I sign and title. So I may sit with a painting for a day or two before I call it done. But in that case, it wouldn't be when I stopped painting. It would be when I actually signed it. So I thank you all for taking the time to watch this. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope watching this painting go through its whole incarnation was entertaining for you. It and a whole lot of other of my artwork is for sale at my website, greigleach.com. Some cases, some of the paintings are available as prints. They're just digital prints. Of course, I'm trying to show the whole thing, and there's a very annoying tripod in the way. But here's the piece. And again, you can see all the work at greigleach.com. Of course, if you like what you see, I'd love to know what you think. Give it a thumbs up. That will also help others find the work. And if you're not already a subscriber, I please hope you will consider doing it. Thank you.